what do you value in a life partner? That's our topic. That's right. That's our topic. And we just did our tantrum. This is our topic. Got it. Got it now. Got it now. I got it. Okay. All right. So here's our topic. What do you value in a life partner? This also came from a discussion that came out of what we talked about last week. I'm telling you, I have some good texts and emails and calls once we get off these here Zooms. I mean, off these live. So this topic came out of from a friend of mine who was dating a guy, right? And she told me that when she first started talking to him about being serious, they kind of having a talk about being serious, and she asked him about his values, right? Because they're not 20 years old. They're most of my friends are near my age. I don't have kid friends, and so she asked him what he valued, right? Because they're old enough to make to have some real conversations, and his answer was real shallow. He actually said something like he likes it when his women are affectionate. That's it. No more. That's it. And it sparked a whole conversation that we had about what are the values? What do you particularly value in a life partner? I, of course, because I often think about this, I, of course, thought about this is another conversation that could be had among several generations. And if not, definitely a conversation that a younger generation should be able to hear, right? Because if we knew, again, if you were, when I was younger, if I knew what to value, what was most valuable when you talked about making a life partner or choosing a life partner, I wouldn't have made the choices I made when I was young, right? So the first question is very simple. And you can maybe type up to, I don't know, one to three things. But the question is very simple. What do you value in a life partner? When you're looking at someone for the possibility of spending the rest of your life with them, what things, what traits do you value? Anybody can answer. The floor is open. What do you value? Okay, Megan says, yeah, that's nonsense. It's important to be on the same page with values. Otherwise, it will just come up later when the stakes are higher. It's the same. It's important to be on the same page with values. Otherwise, it will just come up later when the stakes are higher. That's true. That is absolutely true. So, okay, so Megan, if you were looking at someone for a relationship, we know your values should be similar. But what particular value? Give me one, two, or three. What values do you think would have to exist between you and that person? Soggy Paul said they need smarts. What does smarts look like? I mean, what kind of? I could be smart in, what does that look like? I could know how to fix a car, but don't know shit about managing my money. What kind of smarts? What kind of smarts? Some folk are book smart. Some people are street smart. What kind of smarts? What kind of smarts are necessary for you? And that's for everybody. What kind of things? What do you value in a life partner? What is most valuable to you? I think it's a great question for um, some of us who are married. It may make us, my. I guess what I'm saying is this. Let me not say that because I don't want to offend anybody. I think we could all benefit from thinking about it. whether you're married, single, um, whatever, male, female, what do you value? What is valuable to you? I'm gonna say, I'm gonna add mine right here. At least my number one, and it comes off of from experience, right? I shared some of this with you. I'm gonna tell y'all a story today. I was just thinking about something. Yeah, this got me lit. I can't even spell. I'm looking at this on the red line is letting me know you ain't spelled that shit right. Okay, Saki Pa said being evenly yoked. I want to know what that means too. I've heard that. I was taught that. As a 50-year-old though, I was when I was taught it, it meant spiritually, right? Let me just say this. Let me say this. Let me say this, Soggy Pause, and you'll know exactly what I mean. I remember when I was in the church, because I was raised in the church, right? Tracy's ass. She drinking Tracy tea. What is that? I was raised in the church, and we were always told that you should be evenly yoked, right? Don't be unequally yoked. And for us, that meant don't marry a man who wasn't saved, right? What and you could assume wasn't in the church and was saved. Is that what you mean, Sarky Paws? That's what I was taught, right? But as a 50-year-old woman, I realized that I was in church with a whole lot of men who were not equally yoked with me. And when I say that, I mean, I was in church with a lot of men that were doing all kinds of stuff that didn't have nothing to do with God, right? So now my idea of being equally yoked or unequally yoked looks different than it did when I was sitting in church and they were teaching me that. Okay? Okay, so I said integrity, but somebody remind me to tell y'all a funny story about integrity in my own relationships. Okay, Tanya said, I value communication, honesty, and also time for myself. Oh, Tanya, that's good. Tanya, what is your birthday? I think I know, but or no, did you just have a birthday? Let me know. Okay, Soggy Paul says respect. Absolutely. Tracy, what is Tracy T? Megan says, I would say racial and gender equality. I'm half Arab, and there's some problematic stuff there for sure. I'm trying to work it out with Sean, but who knows? I'm just trying to be cool for now. Racial and gender equality. That's interesting because typically Arab men are a lot like African men. And they have to learn gender equality because they don't really know it for the most part. That's interesting. Soggy Paul says spiritually, I can't be praying to Christ and he's praying to a Rick. Okay. That's enough for me. I mean, that explains it to me. Soggy Paul said rock. Rock. What does that mean? What does that mean? Oh, to a rock. Oh, okay, I got you. Okay. Tanya Wallace said 50 is different, baby. It hit different, don't it, Time? It hit real different. The manifestation of a rebirth is what I'm calling it. Oh, I like that. August 6th. Okay. The manifestation of a rebirth. Wow, I like that. Saki Pauls, the men you are referring to were just going to church, not living the life of Christ. That's true, but how about this though? They was pastors and preachers. but you're right, they weren't. Let me tell you something that came from the conversation I had today. We were talking about intuition or yeah, we were talking about, let me just say that. We were talking about intuition. And we were talking about the fact that I personally believe, many of you have probably heard this, I personally believe that God gives, I believe that he speaks to all of us. But when you talk about intuition, I think that's what intuition is. It's God speaking to you. That's what I think it is. But I think that God has a special anointing. He gives a special anointing to women that he doesn't necessarily give to men. Does he speak to men? Absolutely. but I don't think that he speaks to men as much as he speaks to women. I just don't. I just don't. I think that women's intuition is something that cannot be parallel to anything else. So that intuition, I believe, is God speaking to women, to woman. Why that's the case, I don't know. But there are a lot of things that we can't explain. I think it is what it is. So I was having a conversation earlier today about the fact that that is something that I would like to teach, that I would like to eventually begin to teach intuition to women, particularly, because we all have it. We're born with it, but we don't always trust it, don't always know how to utilize it. And what came up today, which was interesting, is the woman I was talking to said, well, I don't really trust mine because I've been so hurt, it's been damaged, right? And so I don't really trust it. And then I got to thinking about this. I thought that is really interesting because most of us learned to use that intuition, or a lot of us did, in church. But at the same time, the kind of abuse and manipulation, and what did Danielle call it, vampire something, the manipulation that came out of the church, the same place where you might learn to use that intuition, that is the exact same place where they abused you and damaged it in a way that you probably don't even trust it anymore. Now, that didn't happen in every church, but it happened in a lot of churches. So it's interesting that very gift, where they probably, in many cases taught you to use it, also broke it for you. And now you got to figure out how to get it back. Isn't that something? Okay. Okay, so I can pause. It still applies to the preacher too. Yeah, it does. Megan says, yes, Miss Vicky, we have the power to create life. Absolutely. Absolutely we do. We're so much more powerful than we realize that we are. I do believe that. I absolutely believe that. Yes, I do. Okay, so let's go back. Let me go back to, so we got integrity, we got value, communication, honesty, and also time for myself. Tanya, I thought that was really important. Really important, because a lot of times when women are not in a relationship, or in a fixed relationship, or a marriage, or whatever it is, some kind of permanent or semi-permanent union, they don't realize that there'll come a time you still want that me time, kind of like I was telling Megan a minute ago. And so going in, it would be great if that is a value that's discussed going in too, that I have to have time for myself. Because if not, then your mate may have some kind of insecurity about you having that me time, and I just asked you about your birthday, because I'm a Sagittarius, and that's one thing I found over the years, that Sagittarii, is that what it is? Or Sagittarius is whatever, value. And that is, even though they like to be around people, they love to be, mingling and mending and all of that, there's time that they just have to get away. And that's me. That's me. That's me. 8:29. So what does that make? What does that make you, Megan? What's your sign? Okay, so integrity, communication, honesty, and also time for me. Respect. Soggy Paul said, and Tracy still ain't told us what Tracy T is. Okay, so these are the things that you value in your partner. So let me tell you a quick story. When we talk about, okay, Virgo. This is a funny story. I'm gonna try to make it short. Some of y'all already know it, but in terms of integrity, I told you all that one thing I noticed and I realized was that I kept attracting people that were extremely dishonest with me. These men were just extremely dishonest, and I had to, that's when I did a self-assessment. As Tanya mentioned, when I had to step back and say, okay, what is going on? What is going on? What is going on in me that I keep attracting these kind of men, right? Okay, so one of these men, I was dating this guy, right? I was at Wayne State at the time. Some of y'all who know the story are already laughing. I can't tell the whole story because it's too damn long. But I'm gonna get to the tail end because that's the funny part anyway. It's funny now. It wasn't funny then, but it's funny now. Okay, so I was staying in an apartment at Wayne State, and he was not living with me, but in and out. You know how they do. He had his own apartment, but he was in and out of my place. I worked in daytime and I went to school full time. So I was home in the evening. I kept having these dreams, right? And in a dream, he was put a pillow. He was putting a pillow over my face. And if not a pillow over my face, it was always in a dream. It was always something that he was going to hurt me. But in a dream, it was physical, right? And we didn't have that kind of, he didn't put his hand on me. None of that shit. But I kept having these dreams where he was going to do something, or he was doing something that would hurt me, right? After having several of them, it dawned on me that it probably wasn't physical, because we didn't have physical issues like that, but that he was going to hurt me in another way. Okay? Danielle is laughing already because she already know what I'm getting ready to say. Now, one day, he had his favorite meal. His favorite meal was salmon and rice. I remember this. So this particular day, he said, I feel like some salmon and rice. I'm like, man, you always feel like salmon and rice. What the fuck you talking? Anyway, he says, I feel like some salmon and rice. He said, I'm gonna make some salmon. I said, okay, no problem. So he's in the kitchen, and I'm working on a paper or something. He in my kitchen cooking salmon and rice. Somebody knocks on my door. No, nobody knocks on my door. My phone rang. I pick up the phone, and it is, let me see what time it is, because I'm trying to keep this to a minimum. So I pick up my phone because the girl at the desk, real cool with me, always called me and let me know what was up, or just was very helpful to me. So she called me, she said, Miss Vicky. I said, huh? She said, there's a woman on her way up to your apartment. I said, huh? She said, there's a woman on the way up to your apartment. She said she asked me, were you in what was your apartment number? I think it was. She said, and I said what it was before I thought about it. She said, so I'm calling to tell you, I apologize, but there's a woman coming up to your apartment. I said, okay, no problem, So she comes to the door and she knocks on the door. So when I pull the door open, she's standing at the door, and she's a pretty lady and pretty girl, because we're both about, I don't know, 30-ish, a little less than 30 maybe. I was 30, so she might have been maybe about 28. Anyway, she comes to the door and she said, before she could say anything to me, she was going to say to me, no, she said to me, she said, and I'm going to give him another name. No, I ain't. I don't give a fuck. She said, is Damon here? Well, before I could ask her or anything, he has come up behind me. And when she say, is Damon here? I turn around and I look in his face. I say, you here? She says, I knew it. I knew he was playing games with me. I knew it. I'm looking at him like this. I ain't said nothing to her, because here's the thing about me. I don't give a damn about no woman that's in a relationship or is in some shit with somebody I'm involved with. The way I see it is this: she don't owe me shit. You owe me, because you are the one who made the promise to me, not her, right? So I don't get into that. I'm like, what that bitch is at? No, I'm not doing all that. I ain't doing any of that, because I don't owe you nothing and she don't owe me nothing. So when she said to me, is Damon here? I turned around to see, was he here? Is you here? Are you here? Oh, she's going off. I told, what? First of all, he looked like a deer caught in headlights, right? His eyes are this big, and he's a tall guy, so he's looking at me like this. I'm looking at him like this. She's taller than me too, because she looking at me like this. I turned around, I look at him. He's talking about something. He know what to do. So finally he says to her, I told you not to come here, bitch. told you not to come here. Did not tell you not to come. I said, what the? When I turned around, when I turned around to look at him cussing her out, he looked at me. I just walked right around his ass, went right around him, went to the kitchen to get a pot, right? Because it was right behind him. And when I came back toward him, he was like, no, no, no. And then I thought about, oh, I'm losing her. So listen. Think, oh man, I'm losing her. So I pushed past him because I want to talk to her. I don't want to hit her or nothing like that, but I want to talk to her because I know she got a story to tell, right? If anybody come to my apartment like that and you don't know who I am or what I'm dealing with, you got a story to tell. So I leave the apartment. I brush past him. This is the scene. She see me coming out of the kitchen area with a pan. She takes off running down the hallway. She's running down the hallway. I'm behind her with the pan saying, you ain't got to go nowhere. No. You don't have to go nowhere. He's behind me saying, don't listen to nothing that bitch say. Don't listen to her. She's crazy. Don't listen to nothing she say. So the whole while, and it was a long hallway, she's running first. I'm behind her with a pan saying, you ain't got to run. Don't run. No, don't run. She said, no, no. And he's saying, Vicky, come back. Don't listen to nothing this bitch say. She's crazy. Don't listen to nothing this bitch say. You talking about some bullshit. I get to the elevator and she is flying, running from me because she probably think I'm about to attack her with a frying pan, which it wasn't for her. It was for him. I just remembered that she was getting away and I wanted to talk to her. So it just looked crazy. All right. So by the time I get to the car to take you up and down, I say, you ain't got it. She says, no. She said, I gotta go. I can't. And then I think she saw in my eyes that I wasn't about to do nothing crazy. I think that's what it was. And she looked at me. She said, no, I can't. And she says, my baby's in the car. Mind you, I've been dating this guy a year and a half. She says, my baby's in the car. I said, your baby? She hit that button so fast because I think she thought for sure this bitch is going to lose it on my head. And I wasn't going to do that. Got my wits. I turned around. His ass was standing there. Vicky, let me explain. Let me explain. It ain't what you think. Just let me explain. Tanya said, chasing her with a pot was crazy. Let me explain. I promise you. I ain't saying nothing to him because that's enough. I don't need more than that. That's enough for me. I walked back into my apartment with him trailing behind me. Wait a minute. Just let me wait, baby. Wait. I just walked him back to the apartment. I did not attack him with that pan like I planned to because I started to. But then I decided I wasn't going to do that. Walk back to the apartment. I told him, go home. Or wherever you're going to go. You got to leave here. No, wait a minute. He goes, I don't have to tell you how that go. It's not what you think. Get your shit. Get your grip. And get the fuck on. All right? I was lucky enough to have enough of his clothing in my apartment that I was able to put in the incinerator. So that made me feel much better. The girl at the desk who loved me, when I came down with what I had, she looked at me and she said, Miss Vicky, I was just about to turn the incinerator on. And I said, well, thank you so much because I was just going to ask you to turn the incinerator on. So I put his shit in the incinerator. And long and short of that story was, the girl came back. So I know she knew. You know, she saw in my eyes that I wasn't gonna do anything to her because I put his ass he out. He was not allowed to come back anymore, right? But let me tell you what happened. So I'm gonna tell you two things. I'm telling you about integrity. Tanya, that shit was funny. I'm telling you, but that's why I can laugh. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've told this story to people because it's funny. Anyway, I'm telling you about integrity and the fact that he didn't have none. But I'm also telling you about this intuition thing that I'm talking about. Because the Lord showed me in a dream over and over, at least 3 times, of him hurting me. It just wasn't physical, right? It wasn't physical. She came to my apartment that next morning early. It was almost before, it was before, it was right after daybreak. Eyes bloodshot. And he wasn't there because I put his ass out of there immediately, right? Get your shit, nickel. Get your shit, nickel. She came there, eyes bloodshot red. And I know she looked at me and knew, that she saw a sister in me. That's really what it was. I know what it was. And when I opened that door, the bags under her eyes were this thick. And she said, "Can I come in?" I said, "Yeah." She came in, she sat down, and she wept like a baby. And she said to me, basically what it all came down to was she said, "I've been in a relationship with Damon for almost 3 years." My mouth was like, I said, "What did you say?" When I tell you this guy was attentive, I mean what I say. Attentive enough, anyway, for me, because I'm a busy woman, right? I was going to school full time. I was working part time. I was doing my own thing too. I had my own friends. I was, doing my own stuff. Come to find out, he was just living double lives in a way that he could. This is what the deal was. The deal was he was basically living with her. Now he had his own apartment though, but he was basically living with her during the daytime and with me at night. And he was able to figure it out so that neither one of us missed it because she worked nights. I was a full-time student and I worked in the daytime. So the evenings were mine, right? That was my time. I was home in the evenings and he was there every day that I got home. Not only did I find that out in the conversation, I also found out, and listen to this, that he was physically abusing her. That could have been what I saw as well. He was physically abusing her. Not only was he physically abusing her, he was taking her money because his ass, I thought he was working. His ass wasn't working hardly at all. He was taking her money and giving it to me to pay my rent. But I'm saying all that to say, my intuition told me something was wrong. In that conversation that I had with her sitting on my couch, she said to me, "I kept dreaming that he was lying to me. I kept seeing it in a dream." I said, "I believe you." She said, "I kept seeing it." She said, "I kept seeing him go somewhere. I kept seeing him go into a door, and I knew there was a woman behind the door, but I could never see nobody in it." And so I asked her, "How did she find out about my apartment or whatever?" She said, listen to this. She said, "Because I've dropped him off at his apartment." Listen to me. She said, "I've dropped him off at this apartment a number of times, countless times." She said, "He kept telling me that his aunt lived in his apartment, but she was sick and wouldn't allow nobody else up here." Is that some bullshit or what? That's what you call a mind fucker. When that girl got through crying, because she was crying, she was a mess. Oh, come to find out, the baby wasn't his though. The baby was hers from a previous relationship, and the baby really was a big kid. Well, I mean, it's still a baby for her. Baby was, I think, 8 at the time, so it's her baby. But she did tell me that he was beating her. She did tell me, I mean, because you know how it is if you've ever been in a situation where you actually got to talk to the other woman, then you're able the hindsight is 2020. You start putting two and two together and the pieces all come together, which is how we realize what he had done and how he had pulled this off. And anytime I got on his ass, because again, I found out that he wasn't hardly working at all. But anytime that I got on his ass and said, "You better bring some money in up into this," then he go impress her and make her give him money to bring and pay my rent. All right, that's the end of that story. But I will tell you how it ended though. That was the last time he spent any time in my apartment or with me. But I'm gonna tell you, when that girl left it, she told me, "I can't let him go." She said, "I can't let him go." She said, and then she said to me, "He stayed with me last night when he left here. You wouldn't let him in." I just put my head down. I feel sorry for her. And I said to her in that conversation, I said, "Well, I'm going to tell you this, baby." I said, "I'm going to pray that you get the strength that you need to do what you need to do for you and your baby." I said, "But if you going to keep Damon, you ain't got to worry about me. You don't. You don't." I said, but I'm going to pray for your strength because you're going to need it. But if you worried at all about him coming to me, you ain't got to worry about that. He ain't coming over here. So that's that. Ain't that some shit? Give me your thoughts. Give me your thoughts. And we gonna so what I value, let me just add that. What you said all that, what I value is integrity. I value integrity. I absolutely value integrity. And communication is good too, except it's got to be real, authentic. You feel me? You feel me? Because folks say a whole bunch of shit that don't mean nothing. But communication is absolutely good. I do agree with that. Okay, come on, y'all. Give me your thoughts on my my little story. And then I got one more question for you about value and life partners. And then we will move on to the final topic of the night, or our tea. We pour our little tea for the night. Please do me a favor while you are. I'm assuming some of you might be typing. Please do me a favor and share the stream. Share the stream so we can get other people in on our conversations. And tell me about your tea. I only heard who said only one person drinking tea, and that was Megan doing her tea, and Tracy said that she is doing the Tracy tea. I think she talking about that Turkey Hill lemonade or something like that. Tracy said love, respect, and the truth, period. Absolutely, absolutely. So my thought is, you said your friend needs some strong love. You talking about the girl that was crying? If that's what you talking about, she really did. I really did feel sorry for the guy. I can almost remember her name, but I feel like it was Dee Dee or something like that. But I really did feel sorry for her. I prayed for her. I really did. I don't remember if I prayed for her that night in her face. I don't remember, but I definitely prayed for her. I feel like I did. I think I prayed for her in her presence. I think I did. Because she was in bad shape, you know? She was in bad shape. Bad shape. And she ain't, that happens, That's how we got to support each other. I think it's sad how with all that was going on in their relationship, she actually needed to find out if he was cheating on her. Wow. Yeah. But Tanya, they go back to that thing that where we don't trust our intuition, because clearly God was giving her what he was giving me. I just knew. And what I did when I started seeing it in the dreams, like I said, I thought it was physical. And I started watching him like, you try to come over here, I'm gonna cut you in your sleep. So I'm thinking to myself, right? Because it was physical. I was like, I started, but it wasn't physical. At least it wasn't for me, right? She did all of that to stay in it. Yeah, she did. And as far as I know, let me tell you this real quick. But see, this should have been for me. This should have been for me. When he had 2 children, when I met him, he had 2 children. And I remember that any time that I saw that baby's mother, he had 2 boys. Anytime I saw the boy's mother, because I would be at his apartment and she would drop him off or come pick them up. And I remember that anytime, right, discernment, we need to use it because we got it, right? Anytime that she had to look in his face, I'm talking about the boy's mother, I saw the most disgust I've ever seen in a face. And I remember he'd be talking to her, trying to, work out the arrangements, and she would be like, "Go on, whatever, Damon, just whatever. Y'all get out, go on, get out the car." It's like she couldn't stomach him, like he made her ill, you know. And I saw that like 3 or 4 times. That should have been my red flag right there. That should have been all the flag that I needed, because that girl act like she could. I'm thinking, I was younger, right? I'm thinking, she got just upset because it didn't work out the way she wanted to, or you know, I don't know, maybe he's not the best father she wants him to be, or something like something. I just figured it was woman stuff. I didn't think about the fact that how much disgust was in her face. She didn't even want to look at him. She didn't even want. I remember that she was like, and it wasn't like, and I sensed this part then though. It wasn't jealousy. I knew it wasn't jealousy. It was disgust. It was complete and utter disgust. She did not want to be breathing the same air that nigga was breathing. That's what it boiled down to. That should have been mine. That should have been all I needed then. I shouldn't need the Lord tell me nothing. Because the Lord should have been saying, your eyeballs tell you all you need to do. Don't ask me shit. Of course, God wouldn't say that, but okay. Okay, yes, discernment. Actually discernment. That's exactly what we need. Okay, so here's my last question on this topic, unless you all have something that you want to add. My last question is, what do you bring to the table? What is the best? What is the best trait? What is the best characteristic do you think in your mind that you bring to your own relationship, or you're going to bring, or you have to bring to your relationship? What is your best quality? Because it's easy to take something from the table, but we should be bringing something too, right? What is your best quality? Let me know. Let me know. Tanya, you laughing at me. Seriously, sometimes God, I know he be thinking, why you don't need me for that? Security, being able to adapt. Oh, that's good. Adaptability is definitely good. And security, that's good. Um, I'm about to be a little silly, but it's true though. I was watching I was watching I just saw a message coming. I'm sorry. I was watching Ayanna Van Zant the other night, and one of the mothers was clearing up some stuff with her sons and her daughter as well. But what Ayanna said to her, what you need, I mean, she said to the mama, what they need is them bosoms. They need them bosoms. Which my daughter said, what? I'm telling you, I bring bosoms, right? I bring bosoms to the table. I explained to my daughter, I said, it's not just the breast, it's spiritual. It's not just the meat, right? It's spiritual. Women bring nurturing, they bring healing in their breasts, in your bosom, right? In your bosom. That's why God gave us the ability to feed our children from your bosom. That's why if your mate is in the worst, possible space, if he get an opportunity, just lay in the bosom, that's where he want to be, right? Right? So I bring bosom. That's one of my best qualities. Bosoms. Exactly, Megan. Who doesn't need bosoms? Exactly. Exactly. Um, I'm thinking what I think my best quality is. I think it for me. She said she's so comfortable on her mom. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. It is, it's the cradle of everything. You know? It really is. The cradle of everything. I think my best quality for a relationship, and you all join. You all let me know what yours is too. But I think that my best quality for a relationship is probably I would probably say I'm trying to think of the best word to articulate what I mean. It's probably hmm, I think it's mercy. I think it's a mercy. I think, and I'm saying that because I think because I have the ability, and I will look beyond a lot of what you do because I recognize and understand how much we function out of past experiences, right? And I don't think a lot of time people don't take those things into consideration. You just moving along with whatever's going on at the time, at the moment. So there may be a better word to explain what I mean, but for right now, until I get a better word, or one of y'all give me a better word, then it's probably going to be mercy or grace, maybe. I think that'll be for me. So let me ask you all one more question, and then we will really move from this. Because this came from the conversation that started this whole conversation. In the if there was a woman, let's say that the woman or a man, 50 years old, a man or woman, what things do you think an unmarried woman or man, either or, it doesn't matter, an unmarried woman or man, what do you think? What would you say they should be looking for in a mate? What do you think? What one or two things that you think they would probably find important? Let's put it like that. One or two things that a 50-year old would find important, would value in a life partner. One or two things that a 50-year-old would value in a life partner. I'm asking that because in the conversation that we had, the man who said that he valued intimacy was a grown ass man. Um, Tracy said, "Girl, bye." D said, "I bring self-awareness, integrity, loyalty, and a really good therapist." Self-awareness, that's a good one. That's a good one. D, that's a good one. That's a really good one, especially at our age. Because if you don't have any kind of self-awareness, and you 40, you 50 years old, and you in deep shit. That one is very important. Self-awareness, that's extremely important. Of course, loyalty is too. Of course, Megan said, "I think someone who reads the newspaper every morning." Someone who reads it. Well, at least we know they are learning. They're on a continuum, a learning continuum. That's for sure. Anybody else? Anybody else? We'll take another 1 minute on this topic, and then we will take a quick break and move on to the final tea. We'll pour this tea on that damn Umar Johnson. We're gonna pour some tea on Umar and be done. His ass. Who Umar's ass.